Dominican Republic, a single island where humpback whales sing their ancient songs just miles from where the highest peak in the Caribbean pierces the clouds. Where amber forests preserve prehistoric secrets while turquoise lagoons mirror skies so blue they seem unreal. Where colonial cities whisper 500-year-old stories as waterfalls thunder down mountainsides into emerald pools that seem carved by gods. This is the Dominican Republic, a country that refuses to be contained by a single landscape, a single climate, or a single story. On this half of an island called Hispaniola, nature has written an epic across every ecosystem imaginable. From the otherworldly salt flats that stretch like alien moonscapes to cloud forests where time moves differently, from underground rivers that flow through cathedral-sized caverns to beaches so pristine they redefine the very concept of paradise. But here's what makes this journey extraordinary. These aren't just pretty places to photograph. Each wonder we're about to explore carries weight, geological significance that spans millions of years, cultural importance that shaped civilizations, and natural phenomena so rare they exist nowhere else on Earth. We're not just counting down beautiful locations, we're uncovering the living, breathing masterpieces that make the Dominican Republic one of the planet's most diverse and visually stunning countries. From the depths of the Earth to the heights of the sky, from ancient coral reefs to modern architectural marvels, these 12 wonders will take you on a visual journey that proves beauty isn't just in the eye of the beholder. Sometimes it's so overwhelming, so undeniably magnificent, that it stops you in your tracks and changes how you see the world forever. Number 12. Samana Bay. The morning mist rises from Samana Bay like smoke from a sleeping giant's breath, and beneath these waters lies one of nature's most spectacular annual migrations. Every winter, from January through March, over 3,000 humpback whales transform this Caribbean sanctuary into the planet's most intimate whale-watching theater. But this isn't just any whale watching. This is where North Atlantic humpbacks travel over 5,000 miles to give birth, mate, and sing their haunting songs in waters so clear you can see their massive forms gliding like underwater ballet dancers. The bay itself stretches 60 kilometers of pristine coastline, framed by the Sierra de Samana mountains that rise like green velvet curtains from the azure waters. Los Haitises National Park guards the southern shore with its dramatic limestone karst formations, ancient coral reefs thrust skyward that now stand as cathedral-like monuments covered in tropical forest. These aren't just pretty rock formations, they're geological time capsules, preserving ecosystems that have thrived here for millions of years. What makes Samana Bay truly extraordinary is its role as a biological crossroads. The warm, shallow waters create perfect nursery conditions for newborn whales, while the surrounding mangrove forests serve as crucial breeding grounds for countless species of tropical birds. Frigate birds soar overhead in perfect formation, their wings catching thermals that rise from the sun-warmed waters, while below, manatees glide through seagrass beds that filter and purify the crystal-clear water. The coastline reveals secrets at every turn. Playa Rincon stretches for 3 kilometers of powdery white sand so fine it squeaks beneath your feet, backed by coconut palms that lean over the water like nature's own umbrellas. But it's the underwater world that truly captivates. Coral gardens that pulse with life, sea turtle nesting sites that have been active for centuries, and drop-offs where the continental shelf plunges into the deep blue, creating upwelling currents that bring nutrients and life to the surface. At sunset, when the whales breach in the golden light and their songs echo across the water, Samana Bay becomes more than just a natural wonder. It becomes a reminder of the planet's incredible capacity for beauty, mystery, and life itself. Number 11. Lago Enriquillo. In a landscape that seems borrowed from another planet, Lago Enriquillo spreads across the desert floor like a massive mirror reflecting the impossible. This is the Caribbean's largest lake and lowest point, sitting 46 meters below sea level in a valley so surreal it challenges everything you think you know about tropical islands. The water shimmers with an ethereal quality that comes from its hypersaline content, 3 times saltier than the ocean, creating a buoyancy so intense that swimming here feels like floating in liquid silver. But Lago Enriquillo isn't just a geological curiosity, it's a living laboratory that showcases evolution in action. The lake's most famous residents are American crocodiles, apex predators that have adapted to this saltwater environment in ways that make them unique among their species. These magnificent reptiles, some reaching over 4 meters in length, bask on the shoreline like prehistoric sculptures, their scales gleaming in the desert sun. They're living fossils, virtually unchanged for millions of years, thriving in conditions that would challenge most life forms. The lake's ecosystem defies logic at every turn. Pink flamingos wade through the shallows, their legs like delicate pink brushstrokes against the white salt deposits that rim the shore. These aren't just any flamingos. They're part of a population that has adapted to feed on the specialized organisms that thrive in this hypersaline environment. The contrast is breathtaking. Brilliant pink birds against stark white salt flats, with the deep blue of the lake stretching toward mountains that rise like ancient sentinels from the desert floor. The surrounding landscape tells the story of tectonic forces beyond imagination. This is part of the Enriquillo Plantain Garden Fault System, where the Caribbean and North American plates meet in a slow-motion geological dance. The mountains that frame the lake, Sierra de Bajaruco to the south and Sierra de Neiva to the north, were thrust upward by these same forces, creating a natural amphitheater that holds this inland sea. At dawn and dusk, when the light turns golden and the mountains cast long shadows across the water, Lago Enriquillo becomes a meditation on time itself. The salt formations along the shore crystallize into geometric patterns that seem almost architectural, while the crocodiles remain motionless as living monuments to survival. This is beauty of a different kind, stark, alien, and absolutely unforgettable. Number 10. Cueva de las Maravillas. Deep beneath the Dominican landscape lies a world that seems sculpted by divine imagination. Cueva de las Maravillas, the Cave of Wonders, stretches for over 800 meters through the heart of the earth, its chambers connected by passages that lead visitors through what can only be described as nature's own cathedral. This isn't just a cave, it's an underground art gallery where limestone has been carved, polished, and decorated by millions of years of patient waterwork. The moment you descend into this subterranean realm, the temperature drops to a constant 26 degrees Celsius, and the outside world simply ceases to exist. The cave's main chamber opens like a vast underground ballroom, its ceiling disappearing into darkness while formations rise from the floor like frozen waterfalls. Stalactites hang like crystal chandeliers, some so perfectly formed they seem carved by master craftsmen, each one a unique sculpture created by millennia of mineral-rich water dropping from above. But the true marvels reveal themselves as you move deeper into the cave system. Flowstone cascades down the walls like frozen honey, creating formations that seem to glow with their own inner light. The colors shift from pure white to deep amber, from rose-tinted pink to subtle gold, each hue telling the story of different minerals dissolved in the water that created them. These aren't just rock formations, they're geological paintings that have been millions of years in the making. The cave's most spectacular feature is its collection of speleothems, formations that defy description and sometimes defy gravity. Columns stretch from floor to ceiling like massive organ pipes, while delicate soda straws hang like nature's own wind chimes. In the deeper chambers, underground pools reflect the formations above, creating a mirror world that doubles the visual impact and makes it impossible to distinguish between reality and reflection. The historical significance adds another layer of wonder. Pre-Columbian Taino peoples considered this cave sacred, and evidence of their ceremony still exists in the form of petroglyphs and artifacts. They understood what modern visitors discover, that some places on Earth are so extraordinary, so removed from ordinary experience, that they transform everyone who enters them. The cave's acoustics are perfect. Every whisper carries, every footstep echoes, creating a natural sound system that makes the entire experience feel like a performance in nature's own concert hall. Number 9. Pico Duarte. At 3,087 meters above sea level, Pico Duarte doesn't just rise from the Dominican landscape, it really defines it. This is the highest peak in the Caribbean, a mountain so tall it actually creates its own weather systems and ecosystems, standing as a granite giant that has watched over the island for millions of years. But you know, height is just the beginning of what makes this peak extraordinary. The journey to its summit takes you through 4 distinct climate zones, and each one is a complete ecosystem unto itself, ranging from tropical rainforest to cloud forest to alpine desert. The ascent starts in the humid lowlands where cecropia trees spread their umbrella-like canopy over rushing mountain streams. The air is thick with moisture and just alive with the sounds of the forest. Coqui frogs calling from bromeliad gardens, tropical birds flashing through the canopy like living jewels, and the constant music of water flowing over rocks worn smooth by centuries of erosion. This is the Caribbean as most people imagine it, but honestly, it's only the first act of a much more complex story. As you climb higher, the forest transforms. The trees get shorter and more gnarled, their branches twisted by winds that grow stronger with altitude. Pine forests take over. Caribbean pines that exist nowhere else on Earth, their needles creating a carpet that crunches underfoot and fills the air with that unmistakable resin scent. These aren't just any pine trees, they're evolutionary survivors that have adapted to the unique conditions of high-altitude Caribbean mountains, creating forests that look more like the mountains of North Carolina than a tropical island. The final approach to the summit takes you into another world entirely. Above 2,500 meters, the landscape becomes almost alien, a high-altitude desert where only the hardiest plants survive. The air grows thin and crystalline, and on clear days, the view stretches across the entire island and beyond. From this height, you can see both the Atlantic Ocean and the Caribbean Sea, a perspective that makes it clear why this peak has been revered for centuries. But it's the sunrise from Pico Duarte that truly defines its magic. As dawn breaks over the Caribbean, the mountain's shadow stretches across the landscape like a giant sundial, and the forests below emerge from darkness in waves of green that just seem to roll toward the horizon. The temperature at the summit can drop to near freezing, creating a sharp contrast with the tropical warmth just hours away at the base. This is a place where you can experience winter and summer in the same day, where the Caribbean reveals its incredible diversity in the most dramatic way possible. Number 8. Playa Bavaro. Playa Bavaro stretches for 10 kilometers along the eastern coast, like a ribbon of pure white silk laid against the deepest blue canvas imaginable. But this isn't just another beautiful beach. This is where the Caribbean perfects its own definition of paradise. The sand here is so fine it's been ground by centuries of coral and shell fragments into a powder so white it almost hurts to look at under the tropical sun. Yet, it's the way this sand meets the water that creates something truly spectacular. The reef system that protects Playa Bavaro lies just offshore, creating a natural barrier that keeps the waters calm and crystal clear. This isn't just a protective reef, it's actually one of the most biodiverse ecosystems in the Caribbean, home to over 65 species of coral and hundreds of species of tropical fish. The reef creates a natural swimming pool that extends for hundreds of meters from shore, with water so clear you can see your feet even in the deeper sections. The coral formations rise from the sandy bottom like underwater cities, their colors shifting from deep purple to brilliant orange to electric blue. The beach itself tells the story of geological perfection. The sand composition is unique, a blend of pulverized coral, shell fragments, and quartz that creates the perfect texture for walking and the perfect color for photography. The coastline curves in gentle bays separated by rocky outcroppings covered in sea grape and coconut palms that lean over the water at impossible angles, their fronds creating natural umbrellas that filter the sunlight into dancing patterns on the sand. What makes Playa Bavaro truly extraordinary is its relationship with the wind and waves. The trade winds that blow constantly from the east create perfect conditions for the waves to build and break in consistent patterns. The result is a beach where the sound of the surf becomes a constant hypnotic rhythm, not too loud, not too quiet, but perfectly calibrated to create the ultimate relaxation soundtrack. The waves themselves are works of art, building to the perfect height before curling and breaking in white foam that spreads across the sand like lace. The underwater world just offshore is equally stunning. The coral gardens are home to parrotfish that crunch through coral with beaks so powerful you can actually hear them underwater, angelfish that glide through the formations like living stained glass, and sea turtles that cruise the reef like ancient wise beings. The water temperature remains constant at 26 to 28 degrees Celsius year-round, creating perfect conditions for both marine life and human visitors. At sunset, when the sky turns into a canvas of orange, pink, and purple, Playa Bavaro becomes something beyond description. The palm trees become silhouettes against the colorful sky, and the water reflects the entire spectrum of colors, creating a mirror image that seems to extend the sunset into infinity. Number 7. Salto de la Yalda. Hidden in the mountains of the Cordillera Oriental, Salto de la Yalda plunges 120 meters down a sheer cliff face in a display of raw power that can be heard long before it can be seen. This is the tallest waterfall in the Caribbean, a thundering cascade that begins in cloud forests and ends in a pool so deep, its bottom has never been measured. But what makes this waterfall truly extraordinary isn't just its size. It's the ecosystem it has created around itself, a microclimate so lush and diverse it seems like a lost world. The journey to reach Salto de la Yalda is an adventure through some of the most pristine wilderness left in the Caribbean. The trail winds through coffee plantations where the beans grow in the shade of native trees, their red berries bright against the green leaves. The air is thick with the scent of flowering plants and rich earth, and the sound of the waterfall grows steadily louder as you approach, building anticipation with every step. The forest that surrounds the waterfall is unlike anything else in the Caribbean. This is a cloud forest ecosystem where the trees are draped in epiphytes, air plants that derive their nutrients from the moisture in the air rather than from soil. Bromeliads create gardens in the branches, their colorful bracts adding splashes of red and orange to the green canopy. Orchids bloom in impossible places, their delicate flowers seemingly defying gravity as they cling to bark and moss. The waterfall itself is a force of nature that really defies description. The water falls in multiple tiers, creating a series of pools and cascades that step down the mountainside like a massive natural staircase. The main drop is so tall that the water breaks into mist before reaching the bottom, creating a constant cloud of spray that nourishes the surrounding vegetation and creates rainbow after rainbow in the tropical sunlight. The pool at the base of the falls is a natural amphitheater carved from solid rock. The water here is so clear it seems like liquid crystal and so cold it provides instant relief from the tropical heat. Fish dart through the depths like silver bullets, and the pool's edges are lined with rocks worn smooth by centuries of flowing water. The sound here is overwhelming, a constant roar that seems to come from the earth itself. But it's the ecosystem that has developed around the waterfall that makes it truly special. The constant mist creates perfect conditions for plants that exist nowhere else on the island. Tree ferns unfurl their fronds like living umbrellas, while vines cascade down the cliff faces like green waterfalls. The bird life is extraordinary. Hummingbirds hover in the spray, their wings beating so fast they create their own small rainbows, while trogons call from the canopy with voices that seem to harmonize with the falling water. Number 6. Hoyo Azul. In the heart of Skate Park, where the tropical forest meets the sea, nature has carved out what might be the most perfectly blue water on Earth. Hoyo Azul, the blue hole, sits at the bottom of a 75-meter-deep limestone cenote. Its waters so intensely blue, they seem to glow with their own inner light. This isn't just blue water. This is water that has been filtered through millions of years of limestone, emerging in a natural pool that seems too perfect to be real. The cenote itself is a geological marvel formed by the collapse of limestone bedrock, creating a natural window into the underground river system that flows beneath the Dominican Republic. The walls of the cenote are perfectly vertical, covered in tropical vegetation that cascades down toward the water like living tapestries. Vines hang in long curtains, their leaves creating patterns of light and shadow that dance across the limestone walls as the sun moves overhead. But it's the water that truly captivates. The blue is so intense, so pure, that it seems almost artificial. The color comes from the way light interacts with the limestone-filtered water and the depth of the pool. Minerals dissolved in the water create a clarity that allows you to see all the way to the bottom, even at depths where you would expect darkness. The temperature remains constant at 22 degrees Celsius year-round, creating perfect conditions for swimming in what feels like liquid sapphire. The forest that surrounds Hoyo Azul is equally spectacular. This is tropical dry forest at its finest, where massive ceiba trees spread their buttressed roots across the limestone floor, and their canopies create cathedral-like spaces beneath. Bromeliads and orchids grow in every available crevice, their colorful flowers adding splashes of pink, red, and yellow to the green backdrop. The bird life is extraordinary. Tropical mockingbirds call from the canopy, while hummingbirds hover around flowering vines like living jewels. The ecological significance of Hoyo Azul extends far beyond its beauty. This cenote is part of a vast underground water system that extends throughout the Yucatan Peninsula and the Caribbean islands. The water here is some of the purest on Earth, filtered through limestone for centuries before emerging in this natural pool. Marine biologists have discovered species of fish and invertebrates that exist nowhere else, adapted to the unique conditions of this freshwater ecosystem. And just when you think it can't get better, wait until you see number 1. If this journey has already left you breathless, hit that subscribe button. We're only halfway through. Number 5. Amber Cove. Where the mountains meet the sea on the northern coast, Amber Cove reveals itself as a natural amphitheater carved from limestone cliffs, and filled with water so clear it seems like liquid glass. This protected bay stretches for nearly 2 kilometers, its shores lined with beaches that shift in color from golden sand to pure white depending on the angle of the sun. But what makes Amber Cove truly extraordinary isn't just its beauty, it's the geological treasure that gives it its name. The cliffs that frame the cove are embedded with amber deposits that date back 25 million years, making this one of the most significant amber sites in the world. This isn't just any amber, it's Dominican amber, prized by scientists and collectors alike for its exceptional clarity and the prehistoric life forms preserved within it. Insects, leaves, and even small vertebrates have been found perfectly preserved in these golden time capsules, creating a window into ancient ecosystems that existed long before humans walked the earth. The bay itself is a masterpiece of natural engineering. The curved coastline creates perfect protection from ocean swells, while the depth varies from shallow snorkeling areas to deep water sections where cruise ships can anchor. The water here is fed by underground springs that maintain a constant temperature and exceptional clarity year-round. The result is a natural harbor that has been used for centuries, from Taino fishing expeditions to modern tourist vessels. The marine ecosystem within Amber Cove is as impressive as its geological features. The protected waters have allowed coral reefs to flourish, creating underwater gardens that rival any in the Caribbean. Brain coral formations the size of small cars dot the seafloor, while elkhorn coral creates underwater forests that provide shelter for countless species of tropical fish. The seagrass beds that grow in the shallower areas are crucial nurseries for juvenile fish and feeding grounds for sea turtles. The coastline reveals new wonders at every turn. Sea caves carved by millennia of wave action create natural swimming pools at high tide and mysterious grottos at low tide. The limestone has been sculpted into formations that seem almost architectural. Natural arches, pillars, and platforms that create perfect diving spots and photographic opportunities. The cliffs themselves are living walls, covered in tropical vegetation that includes rare orchids and bromeliads that thrive in the salt spray. What makes Amber Cove truly special is how it demonstrates the connection between geological time and natural beauty. The amber in these cliffs preserves moments from millions of years ago, while the cove itself continues to evolve through the constant interaction of waves, weather, and time. Standing on these shores, you're experiencing both the ancient past and the dynamic present in a single, breathtaking location. Number 4. Los Tres Ojos. In the heart of Santo Domingo's urban landscape, nature has created an underground wonder that seems torn from the pages of a fantasy novel. Los Tres Ojos, the Three Eyes, is a series of interconnected limestone caves filled with the most crystalline freshwater imaginable. These aren't just caves, they're natural cathedrals where light filters down from openings in the ceiling to illuminate underground lagoons that glow like liquid emeralds. The cave system formed over millions of years as acidic groundwater dissolved the limestone bedrock, creating chambers that now serve as windows into the island's underground river system. Each of the 3 main caves has its own distinct character and beauty. The first chamber, known as Aguas Azufradas, glows with an ethereal blue-green light that seems to emanate from the water itself. The mineral content creates this otherworldly coloration, while the stillness of the water creates perfect mirror reflections of the cave ceiling and the tropical vegetation that grows around the opening. The second cave, Aguas Frias, lives up to its name with water that remains at a constant 22 degrees Celsius year-round. This chamber is partially open to the sky, creating a natural swimming pool surrounded by limestone walls that rise like the walls of an ancient temple. Stalactites hang from the ceiling like crystal chandeliers, while the water below is so clear you can see every detail of the limestone floor, even at depths of over 10 meters. The third chamber, La Nevera, is the most spectacular of all. This cave is almost completely enclosed, with only a small opening that allows filtered sunlight to penetrate the darkness. The result is a cave that seems to glow from within, with water that appears almost supernatural in its clarity and color. The limestone formations here are more delicate and varied than in the other chambers, creating sculptures that seem almost too perfect to be natural. What makes Los Tres Ojos truly extraordinary is its location within an urban environment. This natural wonder exists just minutes from the bustling streets of Santo Domingo, yet stepping into these caves feels like entering another world entirely. The temperature drops noticeably as you descend, and the sounds of the city fade away, replaced by the gentle drip of water and the soft echo of voices in the cathedral-like spaces. The ecological importance of Los Tres Ojos extends beyond its beauty. These caves are part of a vast underground water system that helps supply fresh water to the capital region. The water here is some of the purest on the island, filtered through limestone for centuries before emerging in these natural pools. The caves also serve as important habitats for several species of bats and unique invertebrates that have adapted to the cave environment. Number 3. Bahia de las Aguilas. At the southwestern tip of the Dominican Republic, where the Caribbean Sea meets the Barahona Peninsula, lies a beach so pristine it seems untouched by time itself. Bahia de las Aguilas stretches for 8 kilometers of pure white sand, framed by crystal-clear turquoise water, and protected by its remoteness and national park status. This isn't just another beautiful beach. This is what the Caribbean looked like before development, before crowds, before the modern world discovered paradise. The beach takes its name from the magnificent frigate birds that soar overhead like living pterodactyls, their wings spanning over 2 meters as they ride the thermals that rise from the sun-warmed sand. These aren't just any birds, they're master aerialists that can soar for hours without flapping their wings, their presence adding a wild, untamed element to an already spectacular landscape. The contrast is striking. Prehistoric-looking birds gliding over a beach that represents the ultimate in natural perfection. The sand at Bahia de las Aguilas is composed of pulverized coral and shell fragments that have been ground by centuries of wave action into a powder so fine it feels like silk beneath your feet. The white color is so pure it creates an almost blinding contrast with the turquoise water, while the texture is perfect for walking, firm enough to support your weight but soft enough to be comfortable. The beach slopes gently into the water, creating perfect conditions for swimming and snorkeling. The water itself is a masterpiece of natural engineering. The coral reef that lies just offshore creates a natural barrier that keeps the water calm and clear while providing habitat for an incredible diversity of marine life. The reef is home to over 50 species of coral and hundreds of species of tropical fish, creating an underwater garden that rivals any in the Caribbean. The water temperature remains constant at 26 to 28 degrees Celsius year-round, creating perfect conditions for both marine life and human visitors. The coastline is equally spectacular. The beach is framed by limestone cliffs that rise from the sand like ancient fortifications, their surfaces carved by wind and waves into fantastic shapes. Sea caves and arches dot the shoreline, creating natural swimming pools and snorkeling spots that seem designed by nature for human enjoyment. The cliffs themselves are covered in xerophytic vegetation, plants that have adapted to the dry conditions of this desert coastal environment. What makes Bahia de las Aguilas truly special is its pristine condition. This beach exists within Jaragua National Park, which means it's protected from development and maintains its natural state. There are no hotels, no restaurants, no crowds, just 8 kilometers of perfect beach that demonstrates what the Caribbean was like before human impact. The isolation adds to its beauty, creating a sense of discovery and privilege that comes with experiencing one of the world's last truly pristine beaches. In the heart of the Rio San Juan region, where mangrove forests meet the open sea, Laguna Grigri spreads across the landscape like a hidden emerald jewel. This coastal lagoon system is more than just a body of water. It's a living ecosystem where freshwater springs mix with saltwater to create one of the most biodiverse environments in the Caribbean. The lagoon stretches for kilometers through a maze of mangrove channels, each turn revealing new wonders and new perspectives on the incredible adaptability of life. The lagoon's name comes from the Taino word for the frigate birds that nest in the surrounding mangroves. But the real stars of this ecosystem are the mangrove trees themselves. These remarkable plants have evolved to thrive in saltwater, their prop roots creating an underwater forest that serves as a nursery for countless species of fish, crabs, and other marine life. The red mangroves that dominate the lagoon's edges drop their roots directly into the water, creating a natural maze that protects the inner lagoon from waves and currents. The water in Laguna Grigri is unlike anything else in the Caribbean. Fed by underground springs that bubble up from the limestone bedrock, the lagoon maintains a perfect balance of fresh and salt water that creates ideal conditions for both marine and freshwater species. The result is crystal clear water that allows you to see all the way to the bottom, even in areas where the lagoon is several meters deep. The color shifts from deep blue in the center to emerald green in the shallows, creating a natural palette that changes with the light and the movement of the water. The channel that connects the lagoon to the sea is a natural wonder in its own right. As you navigate through the mangrove tunnels, the canopy closes overhead, creating a green cathedral where rays of sunlight filter down through the leaves to illuminate the water below. The silence here is profound, broken only by the gentle sound of water lapping against the mangrove roots and the occasional call of a bird hidden in the canopy above. The marine life in Laguna Grigri is extraordinary. The protected waters serve as a nursery for juvenile fish that will eventually populate the coral reefs offshore. Schools of silverside minnows move through the water like living clouds, while larger predators like tarpon and snook patrol the deeper channels. The lagoon is also home to several species of rays that glide through the water like underwater birds, their movements so graceful they seem choreographed. The ecological importance of Laguna Grigri extends far beyond its beauty. This lagoon system serves as a crucial buffer between the land and the sea, protecting the coastline from storm surges while filtering pollutants from the water before they reach the coral reefs offshore. The mangroves also serve as a carbon sink, storing vast amounts of carbon in their roots and sediments, making them crucial allies in the fight against climate change. At the tip of the Samana Peninsula, where the Atlantic Ocean meets the Caribbean Sea, Playa Rincon reveals itself as nothing short of perfection made manifest. This 3-kilometer stretch of pristine white sand represents the ultimate expression of Caribbean beauty. A beach so flawless it seems designed by divine hands to demonstrate what paradise should look like. But Playa Rincon isn't just about surface beauty, it's about the perfect harmony of geology, geography, and ecology that creates a beach unlike any other on Earth. The sand at Playa Rincon is composed of pulverized coral and shell fragments that have been ground by millennia of wave action into a powder so fine it squeaks beneath your feet. The white color is so pure it creates an almost blinding contrast with the turquoise water, while the texture is perfect for walking, soft enough to be comfortable but firm enough to support your weight. The beach slopes gently into the water, creating perfect conditions for swimming, while the width provides ample space for solitude even when other visitors are present. The water itself is a masterpiece of natural engineering. Protected by coral reefs that lie just offshore, the sea here remains calm and crystal clear, with visibility extending for 30 meters or more. The temperature hovers at a perfect 26 to 28 degrees Celsius year-round, creating ideal conditions for both marine life and human visitors. The reef system that protects the beach is home to over 65 species of coral and hundreds of species of tropical fish, creating an underwater garden that rivals any in the Caribbean. The coastline is framed by coconut palms that lean over the water at impossible angles, their fronds creating natural umbrellas that filter the tropical sunlight into dancing patterns on the sand. These aren't just any palm trees, they're perfectly positioned to provide shade while maintaining the beach's pristine aesthetic. The palms are backed by tropical forest that rises gradually toward the mountains, creating a natural amphitheater that frames the beach like an emerald curtain. What makes Playa Rincon truly extraordinary is its pristine condition. This beach exists in a relatively undeveloped area of the Samana Peninsula, which means it maintains its natural state without the crowds and commercial development that can detract from other beautiful beaches. The only sounds here are the gentle lapping of waves against the sand and the rustle of palm fronds in the trade winds. The air is so clean and fresh it seems to have been filtered through the forest before reaching the beach. The geological story of Playa Rincon is equally fascinating. This beach was formed by the interaction of several different forces: coral reefs that created the sand, ocean currents that deposited it in this perfect location, and the limestone bedrock that provides the foundation for the entire system. The result is a beach that represents millions of years of geological processes, working in perfect harmony to create something truly spectacular. The ecological importance of Playa Rincon extends beyond its beauty. The beach serves as a nesting site for several species of sea turtles, including the endangered hawksbill turtle. The coconut palms provide habitat for numerous species of birds, while the coral reefs offshore support one of the most diverse marine ecosystems in the Caribbean. The seagrass beds that grow in the shallows are crucial nurseries for juvenile fish and feeding grounds for manatees and sea turtles. Standing at the edge of Playa Rincon, with the perfect white sand beneath your feet and the endless blue of the Caribbean stretching toward the horizon, you understand something profound about the Dominican Republic. This isn't just a country with beautiful places, it's a country where beauty has been elevated to an art form by the forces of nature itself. From the depths of underground caves to the heights of Caribbean peaks, from the alien landscape of hypersaline lakes to the perfect harmony of pristine beaches, the Dominican Republic reveals itself as a masterpiece of geological and ecological diversity. Each of these 12 wonders tells a different story about the incredible forces that have shaped this island over millions of years. Tectonic plates colliding to create mountain ranges, underground rivers carving cathedral-like caves, coral reefs building the foundation for perfect beaches, and evolutionary processes creating ecosystems found nowhere else on Earth. But together, they tell a larger story about a country that refuses to be contained by simple definitions or single landscapes. The Dominican Republic isn't just beautiful, it's transformative. It's a place where every ecosystem, every geological formation, every natural wonder serves as a reminder of our planet's incredible capacity for creation and renewal. From the whale songs that echo across Samana Bay to the prehistoric silence of underground cenotes, from the thundering power of the Caribbean's tallest waterfall to the perfect stillness of amber-colored lagoons, this is a country that changes everyone who truly experiences it. These 12 wonders represent more than just tourist destinations or photographic opportunities. They're living laboratories where the processes that shape our planet continue to unfold, where evolution continues its endless experimentation, and where the beauty of the natural world reaches its most perfect expression. In a time when pristine natural environments are becoming increasingly rare, the Dominican Republic stands as a testament to what the Earth can create when given the time, space, and protection to work its magic. If this journey amazed you, subscribe and share it with someone who loves discovery. Some places you visit, others stay with you forever. Until the next destination, stay curious.